Ken, the Pirate women just came back from a tournament over in Kirkland, Washington against Northwest University and Haskell Indian Nations. The Pirates came away with the split. Tell us what you come away with as in terms of a head coach, what you saw, what you liked, we still need to work on.
I'd say it was ending the weekend on a positive is always good going forward for the group. I mean, obviously 1-1 looks the same on the record either way, whether it would have been win Friday, lose Saturday, or vice versa, like we ended up with. But it's really just good for me, for the group, trending in the right direction. That's what I told them after Saturday. It's like, obviously, in wins, you hope you're getting better, and losses, you're learning. And I think we were able to learn from both games. And I told them I was really proud of how they performed against two very different opponents. I think that's something that is going to be translatable to conference, where one night you might play a totally different style than you see on Saturday, and be able to be adaptable and kind of make those changes really quickly overnight in less than 24 hours is something really positive. I think that going forward, it's going to be helpful for us to just adapt a little quicker and be able to understand that that second game you might go a little deeper into your bench and just kind of have to adapt to officiating and being on the road. So it was a really good test for us going into conference for sure, but especially next weekend down in Santa Cruz as well.
Talk about that second half, especially against Haskell, and how we really dominated and exerted a level of play that we hadn't seen yet this year.
That was something where I really think that for the group, it was them kind of starting to put into practice a lot of things that we had been working on in practice, and as a coaching staff, I had been telling them, if you do these things, the game's going to look really, really easy and really fun to play. And it was something where you can demonstrate as many things as you want to in practice, but until you get into that game environment and speed, you really can't see it. So just kind of timeouts being like, all right, do you see now what we've been talking about? And then really just buying into things and just playing, a fun level of basketball. That was a really hard style to simulate in practice. So once we got to that live game and being able to, have some bumps and bruises from that first half, and just understanding that sticking with things was gonna, wear them down, just because it's hard to, play that hectic, frantic pace for 40 minutes, especially with a limited rotation. So once we got into, later in the third quarter, made a few just minor strategic adjustments, our girls were able to execute it really well and kind of pull away and just keep getting stops on the defensive end.
You have been able to play a lot of players and go deep into your bench and be very versatile, but really Olivia Mayer is playing at a different level right now. And just talk about some of the things that she's doing really well to make herself an easy target for her teammates to get her the ball.
I think that a big thing of that is obviously our offense. There's some situations where the ball is definitely geared towards going to her and letting her make those playmaking, scoring decisions. I've tried to, just show her individually some of the more playmaking opportunities she has, just because as numbers look like hers do, she's going to be keyed in a lot on people's, scouting reports with the numbers she's been putting up and how impactful she is for us. But with the weapons we're able to surround her with on the floor, like the few times they started doubling her in the post on, Friday or Saturday, she's able to find teammates and just kind of slowly showing her how, it's going to be kind of a seesaw as far as when she's able to score well, it's going to make things easier for her teammates, and those passes, as long as she starts to see them, it's going to help things out a lot. But she's a great weapon to have, and we're just happy that, she's still young, coming back in her, basketball career, so it's good that she's growing into things, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things progress, because, as she goes, for the most part, we're going to go, but it's nice to know that her value is not just in scoring, she's able to rebound the ball, and the passing is such an area where she's going to keep progressing.
You referenced it a little bit earlier. Going down to Santa Cruz this weekend, we're going to see Caltech and UC Santa Cruz. What do we know about those two teams, and what challenges will they present?
Caltech's played a couple of our conference opponents already, and I know they have a couple more games. I think they have a midweek one this week over at Whitman or against them. I know they've kind of been up and down, so it's going to be a good test for us, playing a team that isn't very complicated, but just will allow us to kind of run our stuff and see how we are out of the box, just like kind of preparing for that game as a normal game. And then I know Santa Cruz has a couple really good players. I think they had a preseason All-American, I'm pretty sure. And then they've also played a couple teams that are on our schedule, and they've handled them pretty well. So it's going to be a really good test, kind of another conference kind of simulation weekend where you might have, two games back-to-back that might be a little bit similar, but some certain focuses. So just being able to go through this week of preparation and plan as if, whatever happens this game, we can't have carryover, negative or positive. So I'm looking forward to another good road trip and building off of our momentum from last weekend.